Alright, hello people, I'm recording this back to back with the Telltale Beyond the WOH. So same everything. This is literally 10 seconds after I finished the Beyond the WOH outro for Telltale. Gosh, I hope to not make this too long. This is just an extra Beyond the WOH for The Walking Dead. So if you haven't seen The Walking Dead, perhaps don't watch this video. And we are talking specifically about Carl. I want to just start by saying, guys, if the last reaction isn't how people expected, you know, I don't know what it was, but a lot of people are telling me that when they watched these episodes, they were almost flipped reaction to me. So 8 times 8 was like anger. It was like frustration, anger, and for God's sakes, what the hell? You know, it wasn't so much being upset. And then 8 times 9 is when people broke down. Now, for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's just the nature of the fact that I pause and talk and analyze everything a lot. But 8 times 8 broke me down so much because I think it's because of the anticipation of what was going to happen. I almost kind of knew it was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I just built myself up and worked myself up going, oh my God, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And in the minute it became a reality, broken, you know? So I'm kind of putting it to that. You know, and then the next episode, obviously I recorded quite a bit after the first one. And by that point, I had already come to terms with the fact that he had died. So having him alive didn't feel like, it felt like almost a dream. It didn't feel like he was there. Even though he was, you know, like I had already cried for his death. That episode was anger. Obviously, you see me dry cry and you see my face scrunch up how it does in the not so nice way. You know, like I think by that point I was just so numb and angry and yeah, all those different feelings, guys. But anyway, like I said, I apologize if the reaction is not what people thought. It is a long reaction actually, which I was kind of surprised about. It's like 35 minutes, I think. So plenty of stuff there to dig through, guys. And anyway, what I wanted to talk about today in this Beyond the WOH is just the fact that just a couple things about Carl and how I think one, he's such an underrated character, and a couple of the things I noticed in the episode and how brave Carl is and blah 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 blah. Anyway, this is not a prompted Beyond the WOH, so it may be all over the place, and I'll just get this out before I forget anyway. The first thing I noticed is, like, Carl choosing to kill himself. One thing I've always admired about Carl is he's so brave. You know, like, the ability for him to have had to kill his own mother, like, at such a young age, and then it almost feels like he's been protecting his father as best he can all this time. You know, he's been trying to protect him. And you know what's crazy? I genuinely feel like him choosing to do that to himself was him protecting his dad. I don't think that was just because, oh, I can do it, I can kill myself. I genuinely feel like he did that with the sole purpose of protecting his father. Rick obviously is going to be in an incredibly fragile state right now, and I know Carl will know that, right? When I say fragile, I mean like beyond borderline a snap. I think Carl would have been well aware of that. You know, I don't think there's a reason Carl didn't just give up, and there's a reason Carl like wrote notes, and there's a reason Carl spoke to them before he died and said the things he did and spoke to his dad about mercy and spoke to his dad about his vision. You know, there's a reason he did all those things, and I think in my heart he did everything in the sword to protect his dad. Like, that's one of the things that while I was editing, like I was borderline tears editing because I was thinking to myself, that's just, oh my gosh, for a teenage boy to be that sensitive and that, you know, like it's almost mind-blowing to me. That's one of the things I think to myself is he's so underrated because he's just such a strong character. And you think, how the hell is he so strong? You know, other kids where they snapped or broke or couldn't handle the world. He had to deal with Shane being killed in front of him, killing his mother, seeing his father broken the way he did, and seeing his father like completely snapped the way he had after Laurie died. You know, he had all of that crap to deal with. Dale dying and thinking it was his fault. You know, the list goes on with him, yet he was still strong as hell. I honestly don't even know how it's possible. And he get it from his father and his mother. That's where he bloody gets it from. I just wanted to take a moment to just appreciate that in itself. Like, one of his dying act was to not let his father have to go through killing a child. Isn't that crazy? And it wasn't just his father, it was Michonne as well, you know, like, that's mad. It's absolute madness. And yeah, like, obviously I said during the reaction, it would be hard for me to accept this straight away, and it's still kind of hard for me to accept it, but, you know, Carl's death means so much. I wouldn't be surprised if we get to the end of the show and it's the most important death and arc in the entirety of the show, because he's paved a path for a vision. You know, he sowed the seeds. It's up to us to nurture and let them grow. To single-handedly do that as a character, to show what life is about and the meaning of surviving and helping, for Carl to do that, that's like, oh, makes my heart feel like, oh my god, so warm just thinking about it. And it does break my heart that he has to go, but see, it's hard for me to even speak about it now. Like, even weeks after, I'm still like uncomfortable talking about it because it's still soft, it's still a sensitive area. But yeah, Carl saved the people of Alexandria. He did that. He saved everyone. And he's potentially saved a future. Like, think about this, right? If Carl wasn't around, right, do we think that Rick would reconsider his perspective? Do we think that he would be open-minded to a future with these people? Like, here's a good question. If the Saviors had killed Carl, do we think that, like, if there was no note left, or if like the Saviors had just killed him, do we see Rick becoming merciful and open to a future? Do we see that, or do we see, do you know what I mean? So yeah, like, I think it's probably never go as appreciated as it should how instrumental his character will be and has been. I think it's safe to say that Carl's one of the reasons Rick isn't lost. Carl's one of the things that kept Rick grounded. Carl is the reason that Rick was doing what he was doing. It does make me worry a bit about Rick going forward, of course, because, you know, obviously his son's dead now. Like I said, I think it's in the reaction. I think it'll break Rick a lot worse first, and then over time it'll mean so much for his arc. Do I wish there was another way? Of course. Do I wish that Carl didn't have to die for some future to be paved? Of course. But as Carl said, sometimes kids have to show their parents the way, you know, like. So yeah, this was mainly this Beyond the War. It was just an appreciation for how much his character has done and how instrumental he has been, and how I genuinely feel like, yes, there's still the rest of season 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think there's 12 seasons. There's still a good 4.5, 5 seasons left. I genuinely feel like at the very end of The Walking Dead, I will still be thinking about how crucial his character is. You know, there are a lot of characters I've not forgotten about, but obviously I don't think about all the time. I've got a feeling I will think about Carl non-bloody stop. Like, hope you guys understand how much I want to express my gratitude for his character, and how much I love his character, and how much of a miracle his character is, especially to survive in a world like this and develop into such a phenomenal human being the way he did. Even in the brutality of this world, it's just, oh my days, it's mad. Now, the only thing I want to talk about otherwise, guys, other than the appreciation for Carl, is Negan and a future and the next step. I think we're in a very, very fragile place with the Saviors. Now, I don't think a lot is going to stop Negan from wanting the three, you know, the Widow, the King, and Rick's heads on spikes. I think that's a pretty permanent feeling. The only thing I will say, which I think may change the topic now, is that Carl has died. I see Negan as someone who is adamant to protect what he believes in and to protect the thing he's built. I used to see him as a monster. Now I see him as more of he has a monstrous persona to protect what he believes in, right, and to fight for what he's fighting for. So I don't see him as an outright monster. I don't think he hears about Carl's death and doesn't feel sympathy for Rick. I think he feels sympathy for Rick. That's another thing I'm saying, like, what this means going forward for, like, Rick in terms of Carl's death and Negan and all of it. I think that Carl's death will change the equation. I don't think it changes the complete plan, because I think at the end of the day, Negan's purpose is still flourishing. He still believes it's there, and he still believes he's got a purpose to uphold. I think what Carl was trying to preach is a world where everyone is one, where there's no need to be a savior, where Negan's purpose is no longer an essential purpose. I think that is crucial going forward. To show him that, though, I spoke about in the reaction, it's more than just convincing Rick of a future. We need to convince everyone that we've been fighting this war against. We have destroyed their home as they have ours. There are a lot of people in this war who will not be okay with living side by side. How do you bypass that, right? How do you change the perspective of the masses? Like, that's what is next. As I was saying, Carl's death is going to be huge for that. I'm not saying that I'm glad he died because it's going to be a crucial aspect. I'm saying a byproduct of what he did and what he sacrificed will be good. We just have to hope that it manifests sooner than later, and we don't have more issues and more Lucille and more Glens and more. We need to pray that that is not the case. Like, in that little conversation alone that Carl was having with Negan, I saw a side which we haven't really seen too much. I have faith that we will see it again someday. I have to learn to forgive and forget. Not forget, but forgive and move forward. Or even just to move forward. That is something I'm going to have to do no matter how sick that feeling is in my stomach. That is what I wanted to say essentially, is to just talk about Carl and how much I love him, man. You know what? This actually does remind me, there is one other thing I do want to talk about. There was a little sneaky part of my brain which was thinking, could Carl be immune? Very, very quickly I thought to myself, yeah, nah, like not gonna happen. Whatever started this apocalypse spread like wildfire, right? People were infected without even being bitten. People have been infected, right? Which leads me to believe that something spread somehow, right? How is that possible? Either it's airborne, which I kind of don't get the feeling it's airborne. It could be airborne, who knows? My feeling is there's something was distributed. Some kind of product was distributed everywhere, right? And it is spread and spread and spread and spread. And being bitten can get you infected, or dying can mean you become a walker again. Now, I had this weird theory going through my brain that, you know that scene that we just got of Rick laying sort of, and the thing saying, my mercy prevails over my wrath. I had this really weird theory that Rick was bitten. Not shot, not stabbed, bitten. And he thought he was going to die the same death as Carl. I have this really weird theory, which I at first didn't like the idea of being true, but he's probably one of the only characters which I can accept this being true for. And that is Rick being immune. Now, the reason I say that is because Rick was in a bloody coma. Whatever spread this illness from the start, unless it's airborne, which if it is, then what if? Rick's probably sick as well, right? I get it. Did they measure Rick's blood though? Hold on, did they check Rick's blood test or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm chatting a whole bunch of nonsense right now. But I had this theory that Rick was immune because whatever spread the disease in the first place, he wasn't exposed to because he was in a coma. Obviously, they're not safe because, yeah, you can still die to a walker. You know what? Now I'm starting to really think that theory because I'm thinking to myself, but that makes no sense because if you got bitten, that would infect you. Unless the bite isn't what infects you at all. It's literally because you die from the bite and the sickness and then you come back. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the bite doesn't actually infect you at all. It's just the flu and the death that comes with it. I don't know. But anyway, just thought I would pull that theory out of my back pocket that I have a theory that Rick may be immune or something. But hey, that theory may be bollocks. Maybe Judith is immune because she was born after the fact. I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been speaking for the last like 50 minutes. I've been speaking for over 50 minutes now straight. So if you enjoyed as ever, guys, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for new content every single week. And of course, follow the Instagram, Daniel Reed with 2 Ds. And as ever, let me know down below what you thought the episode, the Beyond the What. Hopefully this week brings Telltale and The Walking Dead. I will see. It's only Tuesday and I've already put out The Walking Dead 2 Beyond the Walls will come out very, very soon. There should be time. So yeah, that's all from me, guys. As ever, this has been Dan. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.